Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is March the 9th. We have a bunch of games on the board for today, a bunch of lines that already moved, and I don't have a single bet. So if you haven't placed a single bet, we're in the same predicament here today, and I'm trying to find me a couple that are winners as well. So let's jump into it for today. Quick recap of yesterday. I did end up making 4 plays, man. I'm only laughing because I saw people in the comment section. I know it's all fun and games, but I saw people in the comment section like, Chris don't make no bets. He made no bets since the All-Star break. And I have been. I just been taking my time and, kind of making sure I got all the data, man. I do encourage you guys to get all the data on these teams before, making your wagers is what I would say. Just because the injury report has been absolutely crazy in the NBA these days, but ended up going official with Washington team total over. Toronto had no desire to play defense against the Wizards last night. So all those trends I read about the Wizards struggling, about Detroit, about Toronto playing really good defense, just kind of throw all those out the window. They ended up with 118 points. They did. Toronto played a little defense in the fourth quarter, but it was too late. Washington already had like 70 points at halftime. Miami, probably on the Miami diet. I watched this team score, I think, 8 points in 9 minutes, and then I watched them also not be able to score the basketball in the fourth quarter against a Chicago Bulls team without a true center. So probably not betting on Miami anymore. Just a real Jekyll and Hyde type team. That's what happened when I try to bet Bulls games, though. They can't even allow the other team to score. Orlando, Milwaukee did get up and over the total for me. Absolutely needed that one. And Detroit and Golden State, I talked a lot about that. I know people were liking Golden State yesterday to score. We talked about both of those teams being top 5 defensive rated teams. That game did stay under. If I would have added anything, probably should have been the Lakers and Boston to go under as well, and that would have been another winner. But anyway, lose a little bit of juice. Let's jump into it for today. I do apologize because I missed it. I actually set the time for the show today at 9 instead of 9. I meant to set it for 9:30. Daylight saving time, all that good stuff, man. We here though. We here. What up, Blunt? Just thought I was going to oversleep and miss the show. Good morning, everyone. Let's get paid. Appreciate you, Blunt. What up, Prolifics? This boy, if Boston played like that all the time, they'd be a bet on team. That's a fact, Prolific. They all healed up last night, though, besides Porzingis, of course. Unk says, bad day yesterday, went 1-2. Got my money back, though. So, though, it was tight yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. What else we seeing in the comment section here? I'm trying to go through it. That's a fact. Profit is profit for sure. What up, Dropping Dimes? Says really like the Pacers last night, even without Holly. That McConnell injury early in the game really hurt him. Warriors team total under did cash though. Glad you got some cash with that Warriors team total under, Dimes, because I liked it a lot as well. What up, Brian? Good morning. Since Lakers game last night, buddy. Let's get back to it. Yeah. Hopefully Brian ain't gonna be out so too long. And this is something that I'll never do. I'll never stop being cautious. I don't know how much money you be betting with, but the money that I bet with, I'm always be cautious with it. So yeah, you can overexpose yourself if you want to and not be cautious. If you're not cautious in sports betting, no, this is the wrong channel for you, my brother. Wrong channel. DJ Prop says LeBron injury, growing injury. This team won't have enough time to make a deep run this year. Yeah, you gotta hope that gets better, man. You do not like to see that. What up, Eddie? Appreciate you for tapping in. And Real DJ X says, good morning, Chris. Let's keep cashing. So let's jump into it for today, man. So it's a bunch of games on the board for today. Let's go through it. So first up, we'll start with jaXon, as we always do. The prompt that I asked jaXon today was, let me just move some tabs around real quick. So the prompt I asked jaXon for today, I wanted to ask jaXon for 2 things. And jaXon went 0-1 yesterday. I was on the opposite side of jaXon. Remember I said jaXon liked the under between the Bucks and the Bucks and the Magic, and I like the over a lot. I didn't think the game would go that way, but it ended up going that way. So today, hopefully jaXon can bounce back. I asked jaXon, what are the 2 best bets in the NBA today between ATS and spread, against the spread in total. Let's see real quick. All right, so jaXon tells me to take the Thunder minus the 7.5 and the Grizzlies minus the 9. So jaXon likes 2 favorites today. And let's jump into why. So we got the Grizzlies. Looks like sharp money heavily favors the Grizzlies. 76.1% of sharp bettors are backing the Grizzlies to cover the minus 9. The Pelicans, coming off a blow-off loss to the Rockets, may struggle to maintain consistency, especially against a Grizzlies team that has shown some resilience. Memphis has been competitive in recent matchups and has the ability to keep the game close, making the 9-point spread a strong value play here. And then we got the Denver Nuggets to lose by 8 here to the Oklahoma City. Says the Thunder on a 6-game winning streak, boasting the best record in the Western Conference. Sharp money's also backing them. The Thunder have been dominant at home, led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who leads the league with 32.8 points per game. Denver, while strong, has struggled to contain elite scorers in recent games. The Thunder's pace and offensive efficiency make this a tough matchup for Denver, especially on the road. So those are the 2 bets that the Denver Nuggets like. jaXon also likes the under in that game. I won't read too much into that, but I kind of want to play the under too. But we'll talk about it. So just to recap real quick, jaXon likes the Oklahoma City Thunder minus the 7.5 and the Grizzlies minus the 9 today are the 2 best bets for jaXon. So we'll see. I'm interested in one of them. I don't know about the other, but we'll get to it. I kind of feel indifferent about one. Feel like it's kind of set right where it's supposed to be. All right, so that is jaXon. Check jaXon out if you guys are interested. There's a 50% promo code in the description of the video. You can also go over there and use 5 free prompts per month without any charge at all. So check jaXon out if you're interested. There is a $9.99 sign up tier if you're also interested in checking jaXon out. So it's a cheaper tier version over there as well. Let's jump into it for today. First game we got up is that Denver Nuggets game against OKC. It is a standalone 1 o'clock start time game. This line opened at 6.5, up to 7, up to 8, back down to 7.5, and the total. I watched this open. I think it was 242-ish last night. It got bet all the way down to 238.5, and now it's all the way up back as high as 243.5 points. I think DraftKings got a 244 right now. So super high total between 2 really good teams, 2 teams that play really, really fast. Like it's difficult for me to want to take an under. I kind of want to take the under though, if I'm being honest. So let's jump into the matchup. We got the first thing to note here is whenever 2 teams are playing, in the first leg of a back-to-back and both teams play each other the next day, I don't think there's ever anything wrong with just watching the first game and then betting on the second one, because these 2 teams will play again tomorrow. So that's something to take into consideration. The Denver Nuggets have Aaron Gordon on the injury report listed as listed as probable. Same thing for Nikola Jokic, who's coming off that career triple-double game in his last game against the Phoenix Suns. And then you got Julian Strawther listed as out. On the OKC side of things, everybody is going to play. Isaiah Hartenstein, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, and Chet, SGA, all off the injury report. Everybody except AJ Mitchell will be in for this game. This is the 3rd matchup of the season. OKC won the first one on opening night, beat Denver by 15 points as 2-point dogs. Denver got their revenge at home. They were 7-point dogs, I think, without Jokic. They were missing somebody in that game, maybe Jamal Murray, and they end up winning the game 124-122 as a 7-point home dog back on November the 6th. OKC has been good against Denver. They've won 4 of the last 5. 7-3 straight up are the Denver Nuggets, 4-6 against the spread in their last 10. They have failed to cover 3 straight games and 4 of their last 6. They're coming off that overtime win against the Phoenix Suns. OKC has won 6 straight. They've covered 4 of their last 5 now after not playing as much defense. They are still 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. So the way, the simple handicap here for me is a couple different things. First, and they all favor OKC in this spot. So the first thing is not that Denver is a pushover at all, but when you think about the situational spot here for Denver, Denver just went to overtime with the Phoenix Suns, and that may not bode well for them coming off an overtime game. Granted, they had a day off. Granted, it's a an early start time game, nationally televised. Like I think they're gonna be ready. But you don't really like that as much, playing off a team like that. That's what happened with the Lakers, right? Remember we talked about it yesterday. The Lakers were doing the same thing, traveling from, it was a longer travel from LA to Boston, but traveling from Denver to OKC off an overtime game that you probably shouldn't even went to overtime with in the first place. So you don't like that as much. When you think about the situational spot for OKC here, OKC been at the crib. I think this third straight home game for them. And they're coming off a game where they didn't even play their starters against Portland the other day. So they should have a lot more energy, should be able to put a lot more effort into it. And when I looked into it, OKC takes these games very, very serious. And when I say these games, I mean games when there's single digit favorites at home. Because most of the time OKC land double digits, right? Like they land 12, 14, 16, 18. So I looked into that a little bit. They're 12-3 straight up, 11-3-1 against the spread if they're playing at home and they're not laying double digits. So games that are supposed to be tight, they typically play those games really, really well. They're 7-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 7 if they're laying single digits. 10 of their 15 opponents have stayed under their team total. Denver's also 5-1 to the under if they're facing the same opponent that they're going to face in the next game, which they will in this matchup. So, like I said, I'll lean under. I'll lean OKC as well. Haven't bet the game yet. I know. Last thing I'll mention, we just saw Denver last Sunday or Saturday, whenever it was. They were in Boston, against another really elite defense, and they couldn't keep up. Could not keep up. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is why you go out and get Isaiah Hartenstein, right? And now you got Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. And I'm not saying that they're going to stop Jokic. What I am saying is that they're going to make it more difficult for him, though. So, I just wanted to share that. As far as player props, I didn't really look too deeply into anything. I do want to go over to probably look towards Shea. I feel like Shea is really gunning for MVP. Shea also is probably going to try to outdo Jokic because these are the front runners for MVP. And Jokic is coming off a record-breaking triple-double. Had I forgot how many points, rebounds, and assists, but it was record-breaking. Nobody had ever did it before. So wouldn't surprise me if Shea shoots the ball 25 times tonight, and 25 times a day, and go tries to go up and over his points prop. And I'm pretty sure it's high, but it's not like Denver's playing a lot of defense right now. So 31.5 is what Shea's listed at. It is to the over. Yeah, the juice is on the over at FanDuel, but not so much at DraftKings. You can get minus 105. So I lean towards Shea to go up and over his points prop. If I was playing anything, I think Jokic could have a really big matchup as well. So that's my thought process here. Real quick, I did want to go over and show this real quick. This is some support for the under. So this is Give Me the Dog for people that are new, where you can run sports data query language. All right. So what I looked at was, I always talk about this when two elite teams play, right? So win percentage is greater than or equal to 65, and opponent win percentage is greater than or equal to 65. Both of these teams are really elite. Since I really put since in season is greater than or equal to 2014, after the All-Star break, and regular season. And somebody got to be at home. All right, so this is what I found last night. 64.3% trend to the under here. So if we look at, the game does populate down here at the bottom. So we change the date. You can see this is when two good teams play against each other. So 65% win percentage or better since the 2024 season, after the All-Star break, but in the regular season. So teams play a little bit more defense, of course, after the All-Star break. You can see it right here, 74, 41, and 8 to the under. Like I said, that's about 64.3%. So I know it was somebody new in the comment section yesterday, came in and said, it's too much star power on the floor between the Lakers and the Celtics. And I said, that these are the type games that go under. The game flew under the total. So this is some support because these games do typically go under. But both of these teams playing really, really fast. I don't really know how much I trust Denver defensively, so I'll keep it as a lean. And like I said, I'll lean OKC as well. I do think that they can cover the 7.5 number. All right, so a lot of thoughts there. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. What up, Justin? Appreciate you for tapping in. JLB says K rebounds and assists on back-to-backs is wow. Basically 100% hit rate. I got to write that down. I'm glad because I won't even go over that game. So I'm glad you mentioned that, JLB. K rebounds and assists. I'll write that down. Parlay and Nuggets plus 7.5 and Thunder money line. DJ Prop says. Yeah, I did see that. I'm glad you cashed him. I actually got busy. Didn't even make a play in the game, and that was an easy winner. He almost had a triple double yesterday. But he didn't get the rebounds either, though. Blunt says the under usually cashes in this in the morning. Yeah, that's a fact. I looked into it. It was 5-1 to the under, Blunt, if the start time was before 7 o'clock. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. Under early games, Prolific says. Dropping Dimes says Thunder under 118 might be the play for me. I think that Denver under. He says Thunder bring the defense on national TV. Yeah, they have. I wish I could quantify that, Dimes, but I agree. When they got a TV game, they typically turn up for those games. I agree with that for sure. Could definitely see probably Jamal Murray getting the torture chamber treatment today. So I agree with all that. It screams regression until you realize that it's Jokic, though, Dante. Jokic does stuff like that, man. Probably the greatest center we've ever seen. And I'm a big Shaq guy, but man, Jokic he's like unreal. And I mean, granted, they were playing the Suns, though. We got to take that into consideration. It's not like the Suns out here strapping players up. Like, that's just, yeah, they're the Suns, man. Christian Barnes point rebounds and assists been high. I did see that. He had 25 points last game. I think he shot really well from the three-point line. I'm expecting a little bit of regression there. Denver loses tonight. Take them tomorrow on the back-to-back. 7-0 ATS on the second leg of a back-to-back. LJ says, I can see it. OKC minus 7.5. Don't really like these national TV games, but I do see a double-digit win. For OKC, 77 figure says, I can see that. Full game under for the Godfather. Any thoughts on Jokic under his points? Nah, I don't really have any thoughts on Jokic points, JP. I would need to go in and look at it. I don't want to just tell you anything. So I'm not sure if they'll make him a scorer or if they'll make him a facilitator. But if I had to guess, I would say that they probably make him a scorer because you don't want him facilitating, getting everybody else involved. And I think that you got some size, right? Like Isaiah Hardenstein, Chet Holmgren. So we'll see. Not like they're gonna be able to stop him, but I think maybe be able to slow him down. I wouldn't play Jokic under though. OKC and Denver play way too fast for me to really like want to hit the button on the under. Maybe live, but I don't think so. Not like I think Dom's got a good point with the potential Denver team total under. These teams play way too fast though. Like it's scary to take the under between these two teams. I wouldn't be comfortable watching the game if I'm being honest. Like nothing about that screams comfort for me. I was uncomfortable watching the Golden State and Detroit game yesterday, and it started off like 18-20. So that's just my thought process. I know I'm taking a long time on this one, but just trying to answer some questions. What up, Brian? Good morning, Dion. Tell us to sit back, relax, and watch some basketball. I'm right there with you. Suns with no Bill. Jokic over his 22.5 rebounds and assists, D-Trip says. Chet blocks maybe. All right, let's jump over to the next game. We got the Suns and the Mavs up next. So I'll be pretty quick here. This line opened at 7 in favor of the Suns, is up to 8 now. And really like both teams on the front leg of a back-to-back. So it's like 13 games tomorrow. I think that's important to mention. A lot of these teams playing on the first leg of a back-to-back. The game we talked about earlier, both of those teams playing again. The Suns play again tomorrow. They got a game in Memphis. The Dallas Mavericks play tomorrow. They got a game in San Antonio. So we got two teams here that are really, really bad at basketball, both of them. This version of the Phoenix Suns is still not good in my opinion, even though they did just beat even though they did come close to beating the Denver Nuggets. Phoenix has won 2 of the 3 matchups between the two teams. Of course, Kyrie and Luka, I think, were part of those games. Situationally for Phoenix, you don't want them laying points, man. That's just the way it goes, in my opinion. So I can't lay 7 points, 8 points, none of that with them. They're only 13-19 against the spread on the road. Also coming off an overtime game. They're 3-7 straight up in their last 10 games. And they're also 0-9 against the spread in their last 9 games when they've been laying points. So I want nothing to do with Phoenix. I know Dallas is, really banged up. They could potentially get Caleb Martin back. Dante Exum might play in this game. Of course, everybody else is ruled out. There will be no PJ Washington. So what I considered in this game, and the line may be gone now. I was looking at it last night. I'm going to share my screen real quick over on Outlier. I was looking at Najee up and over his points prop. So this is Outlier for people that are new to the show. It's a sports betting tool that I use to handicap player props, and you can get access to it as well if you're interested. There's a link in the description for a 7-day free trial. So looking at Najee, right? So this is Najee's just last 5 games, and we know that Kyrie has been only missing for about 2 or 3 games. So you can see that the minutes have continuously increased. He played 40 last game, 32, 29. But look at the field goal attempts, 13, 18, and 23 over his last 3 games. And the Suns, we know defensively, they are absolutely trash. I want nothing to do with their defense and them having to stop anybody. So I would probably lean towards the over, even though I feel like this total has been coming down. Yeah, open 230.5 up to 228.5. I think this game's going to be probably played with a little bit of pace. I think Dallas is going to try to play fast, and I just don't trust Phoenix enough to lay points. Real quick on the Phoenix side of things, they are. I should have wrote this down. Let's see real quick. Phoenix is 28th in defensive rating over the last 5 games. So that's why I can't lay points with them. They've also played the 3rd easiest strength of schedule. So I want nothing to do with laying points with them. Dallas is also 25th in defensive rating. They're also the worst offensive rated team, 106.8. But getting back to this Najee Marshall play, up and over his 16.5 points is something that I strongly considered. So Najee, it's at minus 125 right now, it looks like. I think that's still the most accurate number. Let's just hit a refresh real quick. But yeah, 3 straight overs for Najee. He's gone over in 12 or 17 games with at least 11 shot attempts. And I just showed y'all the numbers down here. He's attempted 13 shots or more in his last 3 games. So give him 11 shot attempts, and he's over in 12 or 17 games. Last 3, 13, 18, 23. With 13 shot attempts or more, he's actually hit the over in 9 of 10 games, and he's averaging 21 points per game. So somebody's going to have to score the basketball. I do think that Najee could be that person. That's the way that I would look. I would also be looking towards an over. I think this game is going to be played fast, especially with both teams being on the front leg of a back-to-back, and that's the only way that I would be playing this one. Let's see what the thought processes are here. Going back to that last game, Justin says he'll play on SGA. He said put 35 up. Okay. So 35 for SGA. Let's get back to my screen. Let's see. LJ says Najee double has been good since Kyrie got hurt. Back with the Suns and the Mavs. I'm right there with you, Prolific. Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Devin. I appreciate the love for sure. He says daylight saving time may mess up the people's flow even more. And I think that it impacts the earlier games more than the later games. But I do agree, especially when you're Denver and OKC. DJ Pop says it makes me sick to see Spencer Dinwiddie running point guard. I can never bet the Mavs in that situation. GLB says Phoenix is very bad after covering on the road. Killer Sports says they covered. They did cover. Because that line ended up being a 9, I think, in that last game, GLB. They ended up laying, I know an early number was like 7.5, but when Jokic got ruled in, and who got ruled in with Jokic? Aaron Gordon got ruled in. That number moved to 9, and I think they lost by 8. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't even need to see it. All I needed to see was the Suns being 0-9 against the spread their last 9 times trying to cover a game. So that's my thought process. Let's see. Guys, Honest Truth says, hello, playing DraftKings for most points scored in 3 quarters. Who do you think will go crazy scoring, and do you think Giannis will still be great considering the back-to-back? Thank you. Yeah, I think Giannis is going to have a good game today. I really, really do. We'll see how it goes, but I do think that I know that the Cavs have some length. I think Giannis has a big game today, though. As long as he plays, we'll see if he actually plays. I feel like they might rest him, which is why I didn't play that game quite yet. But yeah, I think he has a big game. I think Shea has a big game offensively for sure, and could be a Desmond Bane big game as well. We'll talk about that one in just a second. Appreciate this, Pat. He says, the Capper people need to see how you break the games down. That's why I try to make it, in this format for sure. Taylor says, gotta look at Clay, 14 and 9 3-point attempts last 2 games. Suns 23rd most threes allowed, 24th most points via above the break 3. Clay averaging 8.1 3-point attempts versus teams 20th or worse in 3-pointers allowed with 8+ 3-point attempts. He's gone over 4 or more in 20 of his 30 games. I like that a lot. Real DJX says Booker over his 7 assists. Yeah, the Suns need to win games. They're on this road trip, already started 0-1. I think 3 of the 4 opponents that they're gonna face on the rest of the road trip are all above them and in front of them in the Western Conference as well. So you need to beat Dallas. I think that they win the game. Like, they should be able to win the game. But I think Dallas is going to be feisty. Dallas almost covered against Memphis the other day. We got to remember that on Friday as well, and they didn't have to travel. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not laying points with Phoenix, though. I know that's one thing I'm not doing. Let's get over to the next game. Najee Marshall would be the play that I would be on here, up and over his 16.5 points. Next game, we got the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. This line has moved now to 9. The total has shot up, and this is what I was looking into the Denver and OKC game last night. And this total was 234.5 still. And I was like, man, I like the over. And it started moving 237. It was like, boom, up to 237 before I snapped my fingers and got back to this game. And now it's all the way up to 239. I didn't bet it. And the reason I didn't bet it is because I'm not sure if Zion is going to play. I would assume that Zion doesn't play. I don't think he's going to play on the second leg of a back-to-back. Of course, the Pelicans got smoked yesterday. For people who weren't watching, they end up giving up 146 points to the Houston Rockets without a true point guard. On the Memphis side of things, I think you also got to be a little cautious, which is why I didn't play this game. Santi Aldama has been ruled out. Luke Kennard is listed as doubtful. Of course, there's no Jared Jackson Jr. And if anybody had a chance to watch the Memphis game against Dallas the other day, Ja wasn't giving any encouraging words about, how he's been feeling recently. He talked about like how he shouldn't have been playing, like how he didn't, pretty much got injected or, had to take some kind of medicine to play in that game to like probably some painkillers. So I don't really like to see that. I feel like Memphis can win this game without him, which is why I'm expecting. So this is what I expect. We'll see what happens. I'm expecting Zion to get ruled out, this total to come down. Then I want to take Memphis team total up and over. And that's dependent upon if Ja Morant plays. We'll see if he actually plays. But I do think that Memphis is the right side in the game. On the road, they still are profitable, 18-12-1 against the spread. I know that they're only 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. They also on the first leg of a back-to-back. They got Phoenix tomorrow. And I know that they're only 1-8-1 against the spread in their last 10. But the Pelicans, to me, are one of the closest things to the Dallas Mavericks, in my opinion. Pelicans also 0-5 ATS last 5. Second leg of a back-to-back, 3rd and 4, 4 and 6, 7th and 11 games for them. And they had to travel. I think they get smoked again in this spot. So as much as I want to take the over, I think Zion gets ruled out. I think this total comes down from 239 back down, and then we take the over because I don't think either one of these teams are going to play a lot of defense. The Pels have the third worst defensive rating last 5 games. They're only 5-8 against the spread, playing unrested this season, allowing 121 points per game. They played Memphis earlier this season unrested, gave up 132 points. Memphis also lives in the paint, just like the Houston Rockets do. Last 5 games, they're number 1 in frequency, 4th in accuracy. New Orleans doesn't have a lot of rim protection. They're dead last in opponent rim points accuracy. Memphis is also number 1 offensive rebounding team last 5 games, similar to Houston. New Orleans is bottom 10 in offensive rebounds allowed last 5 games. Lastly, Memphis loves to get out and run in transition. Number 1 in transition frequency, 3rd in efficiency on the season. New Orleans is the 4th worst transition defense and worse defense from a efficiency perspective. And the Pels at home with no rest have given up 132 points or more 3 straight games. So if Ja gets ruled out, Zion gets ruled out, this total should come down. I'll be on Memphis team total up and over, or just lay the points for Memphis. I do think they're the right side. The other thing I considered was Desmond Bane. Without Jared Jackson Jr., I think he's just going to continue to get the usage. His rebounds and assists line is 12.5. He may have to play bigger minutes without Santi Aldama, without Luke Kennard if he doesn't play. I think he has a big game. I think he had like 14 rebounds, a career high, like 15 rebounds in his last game. And the usage should just be there, especially if Ja gets ruled out too. Ja isn't even on the injury report, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ja popped up on the injury report and then didn't play. With 25% usage rate or better, Desmond Bane has gone over his rebounds and assist line in 9 of his 14 games, good for 64%. The Pelicans are bottom 5 rebounding team, bottom 5 and assist allowed as well. So those are my quick thoughts. Not even quick, but those are my thoughts there. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Brian says, I live bet the Grizzlies here if they have an opportunity. Memphis all day. So it says, hey, Chris, I'm wanting to learn how to handicap games. If you'd like to teach me, I'd like to pay. The show, like, just listen to my shows and you'll figure it out. But yeah, if you got like specific questions, just email me at ChrisBeCappinn 2 P's 2 N's @gmail.com, or you can just hit me on Twitter. I'm not gonna charge you, but yeah, just hit me on Twitter at ChrisBeCappinn 2 P's 2 N's, or email me and we can set something up. I can just answer some questions that you have. Sky says, not overthinking this one. I got Memphis team total over 123.5. I like it. The only reason I didn't play this, Scotty, because I absolutely agree with you, and that's what I wrote down. The only reason I didn't play it is because I think like the Ja thing really scares me, man. Like when I'm hearing him talking about needing an injection or, some pain meds and how he shouldn't be playing. And then I think about the situational spot because they got Phoenix tomorrow. Like that's the only, I'm trying to look deep into these games. I mean, y'all know how I look at these games, but I'm looking deep, looking a little bit deeper, and I think that the total comes down, and I still think that they're able to score. So I agree with you, and that's what I wrote in my notes: Memphis team total over or the spread. But that's the only reason I didn't play it, because I'm fearful that job may get ruled out, and then you get a worse number. Dom says he'll go Pels team total under. Yeah, only thing scares me here, Dom, because I considered this as well, is that what if Memphis? What if the game is just like yesterday, where the Pels team total goes over because Memphis scores 150 points, right? Like that's what scares me. Both of these teams playing super fast. Pels play no defense. Grizzlies haven't been playing a lot of defense either. That's the only thing that scares me. But I do think it's a good look here. Speaking of daylight saving time, last year on DST, the Knicks and daylight saving time, the Knicks in 76ers played. The final score was 79-73. Yeah, those were slower paced games though. Don says, for what it's worth, the Thunder have played 11 national TV games and their opponents have averaged 112 points. Granted, their last 2 opponent totals flew over, but I think they flipped the recent trend today. I agree with you, Don. We do agree there. I think I think OKC brings it defensively today for sure. The pace just scares me so much, man. I know I didn't give out the numbers, but when you look at these two teams, boy, you talk about flying up and down the floor. I guess you would consider it to slow down a little bit, but Denver only wants to play fast. OKC wants to play fast. Let's see. Last 5 games, OKC's 3rd in pace. Denver's 12th in pace on the full season. Denver is 6th in pace. OKC is 7th in pace. So, yeah, maybe a Denver team total under, though. I'm not disagreeing with you, Doms. What up, Adam? Appreciate you for tapping in. Rome likes Desmond Bane over his points, rebounds, and assists. And the boy says, appreciate the weekend cap, Chris. Yeah, I'm about to speed up a little bit. I'm going a little too slow. I got to go get a workout in. But yeah, that's what we like it here. Let's go over to the next one. We got the Cavs and the Bucks. Not gonna lie to y'all, man. I initially was like, I don't agree with this line going up from 7.5. I think this was at 7.5, 8 to 8.5, 9 now. And what I do agree with is the total going up, though. I didn't play it because I want to see what happens with the injury report. But the Cleveland Cavaliers should come into this one. I think they should have everybody. Yeah, they got a clean injury report, at least as of right now. And then on the Milwaukee Bucks side of things, Gary Trent Jr.'s game time decision. He, of course, missed yesterday's game. Pat Connaughton is out, I think. We'll see. This is the second leg of a back-to-back. No Bobby Portis, of course. So Cleveland has cleaned up Milwaukee. They've won 4 straight going back to last season. in all 3 matchups this season. So last matchup of the season, Cleveland have been winners of 13 straight, but they have failed to cover 3 of their last 4 games. They've allowed 4 straight opponents to go up and over their team total. They do have a 1-day rest advantage here. And maybe you say Friday they were looking ahead to this game when they played against Charlotte and only won that game by 1 point. I said this yesterday. I think Cleveland takes their foot off the gas a little bit. I think that they start to play. I think their defense regresses, and we've seen that 4 straight opponents are going up and over their team total. I'm not into really wanting to lay a lot of points with Milwaukee, with Cleveland right now. I know that 9 is not as much as they were laying against the Charlotte Hornets, but they just haven't really been covering the number. We saw it against Miami. Miami didn't even have Tyler Hero, and they kept their game close. So I kind of lean Bucks. I'll tell you why I didn't play it in just a second. If we look at the Bucks, they've been in good form, 8-2 straight up, 7-2-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. They had covered 4 straight games before losing outright to Orlando, and they played 4 straight overs as well. This is their 3rd straight home game, second leg of a back-to-back, of course. Here's the problem. Milwaukee is 3-9 against the spread playing on 0 days rest. Milwaukee is 0-4 straight up and against the spread playing on second leg of a back-to-back at their dog. They have not covered any of these games. They're 3-1 to the under as well. Offense just kind of dries up. Milwaukee also 0-6 against the spread if they're unrested with a game that has a total higher than 226. 226 or higher, 0-6 against the spread. They have not covered these games that they are expected to score a lot of points on the second leg of a back-to-back. So that kept me off of wanting to take the points here with the Bucks, even though it's still the way that I would look. The other consideration is the over. Cleveland, 9-1 to the over if they're playing unrested opponents this season. Only under actually came against Brooklyn, and that was the first game of the season when they were playing on the first leg of a back-to-back. That was all. So 9 straight overs for the Cleveland Cavaliers on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Cavs are also 4-0 to the over if they're road favorites playing an unrested opponent. Milwaukee, 5-2 to the over if they're playing unrested at home. Milwaukee is the second best defensive rated team, but also they're playing at the second fastest pace over the last 5 games. We know the Cavs want to get out and play fast. Milwaukee also 5th in offensive efficiency last 5 games. So this is a spot where maybe you just look towards I think the full game goes over. I can see this hitting 240. We'll see what happens with the injury report, but I kind of I don't really want to lay points with the Cavs, even though the trends are telling me to. So that's what I got on this game. Probably a look towards the over. We'll see if Dame and Giannis actually play. I want everybody in. If I want the over, of course, I do think it'll be played pretty fast pace. And I think Cleveland gonna be able. I think the Bucks are gonna be able to score. So you can get Milwaukee team total. Let's see what that number is. Milwaukee team total is 114.5. I kind of feel like they're gonna have to get to 114 in order to keep up with the Cavs. So that's just my thought process. I didn't look into player props in this one either. Let's see. Mobley over his blocks and steals is interesting. Plus 8.5 now. Not huge, but yeah. Barely beat Charlotte. Barely beat them. I'm watching the game, Adam, yo, what are we doing here, man? They were down 9 points to Charlotte with 4 minutes left. How? We can't stop Miles Bridges? Charlotte shoots 35% from the field, 97% of their games, and you struggling with Charlotte. I didn't have a bet on the game, but I'm like, bro, what are we doing here? Yeah, it's just not blowing people out. Scotty says Bucks not covering on back-to-backs against good offenses. Take the Cavs by however many points they want. I think I disagree, man. LJ says sounds like a Cavs spot to me. It does, man. I can't quite get there. Not with recent form though. Taylor says just some trends. Curious if any thoughts, Chris. Cavs opponent rest equals. Yeah, we talked about that one. I do like the over, Taylor, if I'm playing anything. He says the Bucks at home unrested, 5-2 to the over. I found that one as well, Taylor. I agree. I do like over. Like I said, the only reason I haven't bet it, I just want to make sure Doc Rivers don't got any, tricks up his sleeve, any funny business. Think about resting, Giannis on the second leg of a back-to-back or Dame or something crazy like that. So that's the only reason I didn't bet it yet. P says Cavs 34-10 in 10 plus games. Bucks 11-14 versus teams above 500. I would be interested to know how many games the Bucks have lost, Pete, with Giannis and Dame both in against teams that are above 500. Because they got this innate ability to turn it on, man. We've seen the Bucks play really good basketball. Not yesterday, of course. If you watched that Orlando game, don't have recency bias, but I remember having a lot of money on OKC in the in-season tournament game, and the Bucks took my money. I won't ever forget it. The Bucks took my money. Also, this right, like, and this is I like talking through these games because I like to make sure y'all understand how I'm looking at it. So these teams that have triple revenge, right? Most of the teams that are playing each other now have already, especially if it's a conference game, they've already played each other 3 times already this season. So a lot of these games are going to be last game, of the season. I already said that Cleveland has beaten the Bucks 3 straight times already this season. So you got triple revenge if you the Bucks as well. I know a second leg of a back-to-back, but you got triple revenge here. You know who also had triple revenge? The Charlotte Hornets had triple revenge. The Charlotte Hornets had lost three straight games to Cleveland this season, all of them by double digits, and they end up covering, almost won that game. So triple revenge does mean something sometimes, and that's just, you got to look at the team and how much heart they got from the players that they got. But yeah, Cavs are definitely on cruise control. I agree with that. Eddie says stay away from this back-to-back, and the Cavs not covering. It's a fade for me, and I'm right there with you. I'll stay on the sideline until I get the injury report. Once the injury report comes out, I'll be looking towards the over. Next game up we have is the San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Y'all know how I feel about the Timberwolves laying points at the crib, man. It's hard for me to get behind it. It's just really hard for me to get behind it. Let me see where this line is going. Open 10, up to 11 now. Total has moved up as well. I agree with that. I just didn't get to the number early enough. 228 all the way up to 233. Looks like it has come back down from the 233.5 that I have on the screen. So, and I got to speed up. I'm going slow. All right, so we can look at the injury report. San Antonio has everybody in except Charles Bassey. And Minnesota could potentially get Rudy Gobert back. He was listed as questionable in that game against Miami the other day and did not play as well. It's a back injury that I think he's been out since the All-Star break with. But everybody else should be in for Minnesota. So real quick, let's see what I wrote in my notes. I wrote Miami has won 2 of the 3, which don't really matter because Wemby was in. San Antonio's actually covered 2 of the 3. San Antonio 12-18 against the spread on the road, struggling just 3-7 against the spread and straight up in their last 10 games. They played 4 straight overs, first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game where they host the Mavs tomorrow. The Timberwolves only 11-19-1 against the spread at home. They have won 4 straight games. They play in Denver on Wednesday. Okay, so that's what I wrote in my notes. When the Spurs have been road dogs with a total greater than 225, they stayed under their team total in 11 of their 14 games. So we can't trust the Spurs offense on the road with a high total, is what the trend tells me that I found last night. So if we look at the Spurs last 5 games, they are the second worst defensive rated team, 127.2 defensive rating. Now on the opposite side, Minnesota's offense has been clicking, especially without Rudy Gobert being there, right? 8th in offensive efficiency. They got an offensive efficiency of 120.8. Defensively, they've been top 5 as well, 110.9. They have played a very strong, easy strength of schedule. It's not like San Antonio is out here setting the world on fire, though. San Antonio is giving up 126.4 points per game in their last 5. Makes sense. They don't got no rim protection. Also 13th in pace, 29th in defensive efficiency, 2nd in strength of schedule, though. So they have played against a stronger strength of schedule. So real quick, let me just look and see if Minnesota should be able to score, because it'd probably be like a Minnesota team total over. I don't think I could get there with the Spurs team total under, just because I feel like this game's going to be played fast. Not sure how much interest Minnesota's going to have in this game, even though they have been playing. They didn't cover against Miami, but they have been playing some pretty good basketball. So Minnesota is taking a lot of shots at the 3-point line, of course. Number 1, actually, last 5 games in 3-point frequency, 9th in accuracy, a lot of corner threes, a lot of above the break threes. And San Antonio has struggled. They've struggled to guard the 3-point line. 23rd in opponent above the break 3 accuracy last 5 games. Minnesota, are they pushing pace? 10th in transition frequency, 8th in efficiency. San Antonio has been pretty good getting back on defense. I'll probably play over still. That's probably the only way that I would look. Let's see what the team total is for Minnesota. 122.5. I'll probably take 122 and think they can get to 123. San Antonio probably going to play super fast. Minnesota has been playing fast, shooting a bunch of threes. They should be able to get downhill, score whenever they want to. Anthony Edwards should have a big game. So it'll probably just be, I'm not laying points with the Timberwolves, though. Like, that's just, I feels like a suicide mission, especially on a Sunday. Real quick, let's just look at the Timberwolves. So if they're home favorite, they are 8-18 against the spread. Average win is about 4 points. They are 4-1 against the spread in their last 4, though. They lost outright to the Bucks. Before that, they beat the Bulls by 19. They beat the Rockets by 13. They beat the Trailblazers by 16. They beat the Sixers by 14. So they have been more profitable recently. If they're laying double digits, they are 6-1 straight up, 4-3 against the spread. They are winning by average of 14 points per game. 1, 2, 3. They've scored back-to-back games of 127 and 126. So maybe a Timberwolves team total over is the way that I would be playing it right now. Let's see what the thought processes are here. If you guys have anything, I'm trying to speed up a little bit. I do think Ant gets whatever he wants in this game. Spurs team total under, that number is 111.5. I can see that, Marquise, as long as it plays slow. I'm not sure how slow it's going to be paid though. It's got to be Spurs, too many points. Herb says I'm not laying with Minnesota, I tell you that, so I couldn't disagree with you here. The problem is I just watched San Antonio get absolutely smoked by the Kings. The Spurs, since the All-Star break, 3-6 straight up, 3-6 against the spread. They played in 4 straight overs, and they haven't stopped anybody. The Kings scored 127. The Nets scored 113. The Thunder scored 146. The Grizzlies scored 128. The Rockets scored 118. So they're just not stopping anybody right now. Offensively, they put it together. Those first couple games without Wemby, they struggled to score the basketball. Since then, they scored 130 against the Grizzlies, 132 against the Thunder, 127 against the Nets. I think over still kind of gets there. It looks like since the All-Star break, their games are averaging 235 points, 235 for them since the All-Star break. The Timberwolves, even though they're top 5 defense since the All-Star break, their games are averaging 231 points. So I think under happens. Yeah, I think under. I mean, I think over happens in this game. Herbert Crew. OG, you on Cal's show today? Nah, I don't even know if Cal gonna be. I don't even know if Cal. I haven't talked to Cal. I will be with him tomorrow though. Dom says I'm calling it now. I think the Wolves trade Gobert this summer if they can find takers. Dom's Rudy Gobert got a big contract, great. So. Yeah, we'll see. They probably feel like they don't need him after, with this stretch. But I kind of agree with you. Perfect fit for the Lakers, except he can't shoot threes. But yeah, I guess he's overpaid though. Like you can get 75% of what Gobert gives you, and it's not a shade to him, but he don't really give you nothing on the offensive end. He's severely uncoordinated. I'm not a big Gobert guy, but let me get off of that soapbox. LJ says Spurs first quarter, Wolves start off slow for some reason. They do. I don't know why, but I'm right there with you, Don. I'm not playing right there with you, LJ. I'm not playing it, but I agree with that. Let's go over to the next game. We got the Kings and the Clippers. I'm not going through all the games either, just FYI. I know I skipped. What did I skip? I skipped Utah and Philly. I'll be taking points with Utah. I'm not laying points with the Philadelphia 76ers. No PG, no Embiid, no Maxey. They were laying 7 yesterday, 7.5. I didn't take it, but that's the only way that I would look. The total, I would definitely agree to the over. Utah and Philly are both terrible defensive teams last 5 games. I think both teams are bottom 10 defensively. Utah playing at the fastest pace in the NBA. They've also played the easiest strength of schedule, so it's over and nothing for me in that Utah and Philly game. Even with the total going up, I think it probably reaches 230. Utah still, they rested all their players. They still got guys that's going to be able to go out there and score the basketball. Flipikowski, Colin Sexton, Sensabaugh, they still got guys that's going to score. So yeah, be over in that game. And then the other game that I'm skipping is Detroit and Portland. Just not really interested in that game. I think the spread is about right where it should be. Portland also got they got Denny Avdia listed as questionable, so it was an easy skip for me. I'm not really messing with that game. I don't want to waste my time talking about it. And Detroit could rest people as well. I see Tobias Harris get hurt last night. We'll see if he plays. I think he did finish the game, though. We'll see how that goes. So I'm off of that game. Let's go through the last one on the board, which is the Kings and the Clippers. So this line opened at 5. I saw it get bet up to 6.5 last night. And now it's coming back down to 6. The total open 224.5 is all the way down to 218 now. And it's actually going back up to 218.5 now. So money coming back in on the over here. And contrarian play, man. Well, I don't know how contrarian it is or not, but I kind of think the Kings can keep this one close. I kind of think they can keep it within 2 possessions. So 6 would be my recommendation here. So we get into it, right? A couple reasons why I like it. We'll go through the injury report first. We got Ben Simmons out. I don't even know if Ben Simmons plays basketball no more, but Ben Simmons is out. Malik Monk and Sabonis are still out for the Sacramento Kings as well. It looks like they've been starting Markelle Fultz. I haven't really been watching them play that much, if I'm being honest. I watched a couple of their last 5 games, but I haven't really been locked in on them. I didn't watch them play against the Spurs that much at all in the last game. But it looks like Fultz is starting at point guard with Levine and DeRozan. Keegan Murray's been playing a little bit better basketball recently, and then Jonas Valanciunas will be out there as well, starting at center. The Clippers do have everybody except Norman Powell, which I kind of feel like is a big deal. So we look at the matchup, right? Clippers have actually won both matchups this season. They've covered both spreads. Both games have stayed under the total. Actually, the last 5 have stayed under the total between these 2 teams. So I guess the under was a good play. I didn't play the under, didn't stay away from the total. The Clippers are, the Kings, not the greatest road team, just 15-16-1 against the spread on the road, but they've been playing really good basketball. You got to give them credit. 7-3 straight up, 7-2-1 against the spread in their last 10. They've covered 6 straight. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got to go back home to Sacramento to host the Knicks tomorrow. And then on the Clippers side of things, they are pretty good at home. 22-9 ATS at the crib. Back-to-back wins and covers. They got the Knicks out the way, but the Knicks won the second leg of a back-to-back without Brunson. They also beat a good Detroit team, which they took my money against Detroit. And that was after losing 4 straight. They had actually failed to cover 8 straight games. So they are still just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10. This is the 3rd straight home game for them. So I'm looking through the numbers last night, and a couple things jumped out for me to Sacramento. I was hoping that this reached 7, and we'll see where it goes because it is the last game on the board. So I'll see where it goes. I haven't bet Sacramento yet. It's actually my favorite spread bet of the day if I'm going to play one. Outside of OKC, I think OKC can win as well and cover that number. But a couple things I looked at. So one, you got the Clippers. So Sacramento, 7th defensive rated team. Just depending on where you're looking at it at. But defensive rating has been really good for Sacramento. Let's just say that. They're playing at the 6th slowest pace. The Clippers playing at the 3rd slowest pace. So all that says under. The Clippers run a lot of ISO. They run more ISO than any other team in the NBA. Sacramento is 6th in opponent ISO frequency, 6th in opponent ISO efficiency. And I just mentioned their defensive numbers. They're really good defensively. On offense, the Kings run a ton. They take a ton of shots in the paint. 5th in frequency, 7th in accuracy. Last 5 games. So last 5 games, those are the games even without Sabonis. They're getting downhill and scoring in the paint. Here's the problem for the Clippers. They're bottom 5 in opponent frequency and accuracy in the paint. So the Clippers have not done a good job guarding the paint recently. Sacramento also getting to a lot of mid-range shots. This is actually where they're taking more shots than anybody. Number 1 in mid-range frequency. And it makes sense when you got Levine and DeRozan out there. Keegan Murray also can knock down some mid-range shots. Markelle Fultz is not a great 3-point shooter. So you got a Kings team that's taking more mid-range shots than any other team in the NBA at the 9th best frequency. And the Clippers, bottom 10 in both defensive categories. And like I mentioned, Sacramento, top 5 defensive rated team, number 2 in opponent effective field goal percentage over their last 5 games. I think they can keep it within a number, man. I really do. I see it starting to come back down to 5.5. I like the Kings plus the 6 in this spot, thinking that they can keep this one close, especially with no Norman Powell on the other side. So that's my thought process on this one. Let's see what you guys are thinking before we do a quick recap and get off of here. Lyles over his points. Ooh, 77 figures. I like the alignment. It says Kings plus 6, top play. Okay. Clippers have the better defense, and Jonas Valanciunas won't match up well against Zubac, who says. We'll see how that goes. Appreciate you, LBA. I appreciate that. I will be on with Cal tomorrow. Taylor says he'll go DeRozan under his 24.5 points. Says he gets about 43%. Well, scores 43% of his points in the mid-range. Clippers allow the 9th least points in that shot zone. DeRozan versus teams 15th for better. Versus the mid-range He's under in 20 of his 29 games, averaging just 20.9 points per game. Okay, that aligns with the under in general, Taylor. I mentioned the Clippers' mid-range defense has not been great recently. We'll see how it goes. Whether because if I'm right, then DeRozan potentially could still go under, but he may go over. But if the Clippers' full season defense comes to play, then you'll definitely. I think you're definitely on the right side. We'll see how it goes. P says, "Yo, Barnes 2+ 3s is even money. Hit 4 or 5 in his last time out, and 2 and 10 of his last 13." Okay, let me talk you off at all, Pete. Not something that I look too deeply into, man. So I wish you the best of luck there. All right, let's jump into a quick recap so we can get ready to get up. So I can get ready to get up off here. So let's see. What I wrote in the recap is here. And let's see if I need to change anything. OKC minus the points. And I also like under, man. 244. I'm not gonna play under though. If I play under, it'll be live. Like if it gets to 255 or something like that, I may be looking towards an under. So I probably won't play that before. But yeah, OKC in Denver. OKC under. You can get a 244 right now on DraftKings. And this did go up to 244.5 too. So money, I guess, is a little bit of money coming back in on the under. Phoenix and Dallas, only way I'm looking is over in that game. Neither teams play defense. I think it's going to be played pretty fast. I do like Najee Marshall over his points prop as well. Didn't play it though. Memphis and New Orleans. That's the tricky one, in my opinion. Because like I said, I think Zion gets ruled out. The spread gets bigger. But you got to see what happens with Ja Morant, in my opinion. Especially with Memphis being on the first leg of a back-to-back. They can beat the Pels without Ja Morant. Utah and Philly over the 227.5 on Bet365 if I'm playing anything in that game. Utah plus the points. Also, not laying points with Philly. Spurs and Memphis over 232, it looks like, and a half is available on Fanatics. It's the way that I would play that one. Or Minnesota team total up and over. Spurs playing terrible defense and Minnesota playing a little bit faster and should be able to get to the rim and score from the three-point line. Cleveland and Milwaukee, I want to take the over 237.5. I'm just waiting for Giannis and Dame to, both be ruled in. I kind of want to take the Cavs too, the Bucks too, but I'll probably stay off of the side. And then Detroit and Portland, really nothing in that game. I know GLB mentioned Cade over his rebounds and assists on the second leg of a back-to-back. So potential looking at that. And then Clippers and Kings, actually we'll see how the injury report goes, but I like the Clippers a lot today, man. I like the Kings a lot today, +6. So haven't made a bet yet, but that's what I'm looking at. I wish you guys the best of success on whatever it is that you do play. Tomorrow is 13 games. So what I may end up doing is a video tonight, breaking down the first half of the slate. So maybe like 5 or 6 games tonight. And then tomorrow I'll break up the morning show. We'll do the other half of the games. But it's a lot of teams on the first leg of back-to-backs. If you are, like really serious about trying to make some money sports betting, you really want to watch these games tonight so you can see what happens, because a lot of these teams are playing again tomorrow. So injuries, what the line opened at, like it's going to be some lines that move tonight before tomorrow for sure. So just keep that in mind. Resources are all here. Remember, I said jaXon likes OKC minus the points today. jaXon also likes Memphis minus the points today. Top 2 plays there. Referral code for jaXon is in the description of the video. Outlier, same thing. 7-day free link trial. Money Baller, 50% off using code ChrisBeCappinn over there. Odds Jam for the Sportsbook screen page to help you get the best odds whenever you're placing your bets, man. Best of luck on all your action for today. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the hoops. And I will catch you guys in the next. Also, if you want access to the Discord, just shoot me an email at ChrisBeCappinn 2 P's 2 N's, and I'll send you that link. So that's what I got for today, man. Best of luck on all your action. I'll catch you guys probably tonight. Honestly, probably drop a video tonight, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning as well. Back to regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. I'm out.